In the January here, brother, we
Oh
getting
yeah,
closer and closer to the date. I
yeah,
got
man.
my
What, two
this
weeks out? Like,
2 weeks
2 weeks
out.
out.
Y'all know what we talk about. Listen, I got my plane tickets. I got my gear. We gonna be in Vegas doing what it is that we do. Listen, Team No Sleep, January 24th. That dude right there, y'all know him, Montel Allen. What's
Yeah,
going on, man?
yeah. Man, blessed as usual, man. I cannot complain, man.
That's
I think
right.
my church says it all, man. It said God over everything.
I like that. Look
That's
at
my new
that.
motto right there.
I
So
heard that.
absolutely. So
Look at you.
I'm blessed, man. I can't never complain, man. I got 10 toes on the ground. I'm able to wake up in the morning. That's a blessed day.
Can't do
I got
nothing better than that.
opportunity.
Man, you
Yes,
love
sir.
it. You know, it's a little drizzly up here in Northern California. I'm not sure what's going on in your neck of the woods, but man,
Oh,
I want to go
we
out there
flooded
and
out, man.
pretend I'm
Yeah, I
gonna do
mean,
some yard work, but
you saw San Diego was flooding out. We wasn't
like
equipped for all
that.
that rain. But I mean, everybody's blessed. Everybody's okay. Just something they got to learn how to deal with that big storm, and
Yeah.
we'll be back to sunny San Diego in a couple of weeks. Be back to normal.
Yeah. Everybody stay safe though. You know, sometimes folks don't know how to manipulate it and maneuver when the weather changes. So
Yes, sir.
listen, this week was actually for us, it was a good week as it relates to
Yeah.
Team No Sleep social impact of sport because there weren't too many. There probably were, but we didn't. I didn't see any major breaking stories that were nobody getting beat up, nobody getting arrested. Right? None of the
Yeah.
typical type of stories that we get in. So for us, it's a good week.
Nothing like that. But I would like to give a prayer, a shout out, and a prayer, and my prayers go out to those people that lost their lives in that mine collapse overseas. I forgot what country it is, but like 70
Yes,
people
I did see
passed
about
away.
that. Yeah,
And others. I mean, our prayers go out to their families in situations like that. People just working hard, trying to provide for the families, and then an incident like that happens. I mean, my prayers go out to them, and we ought to feel blessed that we're not in that situation to have to do those types of things and put our lives in
hmm
danger in order to earn a few dollars. So, shout out to those families in that country, and my heart goes out to them.
yeah.
Hope everything works out.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for bringing that to the forefront. 'Cause I did see that, and I was like, man, because I remember the last time something like that happened. I forgot what country that was in. It was Panama somewhere,
Yeah.
and those guys were under there forever. They turned it into a movie. I remember. I just could not imagine being caught up in that kind of a situation. So,
Man,
uh,
I mean, I think we as Americans, we don't understand and we don't realize, right? We have to count our blessings in those
hmm
situations what's going on, because life is completely different outside our country.
truth.
There's the good things and there's some bad things, but again, there's a lot going on outside their country that we take for granted. And whatever your political views is, it doesn't matter. This is one of the best countries to live in as far as when it comes to those types of things. We're not burdened with those types of things and that type of lifestyle. We're actually in a better situation than them. So I think you got to count every day as a blessing while we're here, man.
That's true, man.
Absolutely.
I can't wake up mad. Listen, I got to wake up and get ready to go. Listen. We both
Man,
got kids too. Bro,
hey,
we can't
restart. You
just
got
sit
to
around.
restart, brother. Hey, when you go to bed depressed, man, that 8 hours later, that's a
Mm,
restart button.
that's
That's
not a
not
good
us,
night's sleep.
continue. That's a restart button. So, and I always think it's just another day to get opportunity, right? God bless us with limbs, the power to breathe, the power to think. He gave us the power to get opportunity. So
Yeah,
go get it.
look at that. See, y'all know y'all was gonna get a little lesson in life when you come to Team No Sleep. Yeah, we talk about other stuff, but we make sure that we take care of each other as well. Um, let's get into this first story, man. The one that's breaking news right now. That's got Twitter blowing up. That's got ESPN sending me and you notifications. We talked about this. Let me give you this flowers right now. I'm gonna go ahead and give you these flowers right now because you called it. I debated it. I didn't think it was gonna happen. I knew he was going somewhere, but I didn't know Jim Harbaugh was actually gonna go to the Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers have their man. They have Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach, just announced a couple of hours ago, and I'm seeing that with positivity coming from this. I'm glad that he didn't go to the Raiders. I'm glad that that situation worked out for
Pierce, yeah.
coach there, for Antonio Pierce.
Mhm.
But I actually think this is a nice fit. Harbaugh can come back, can coach in the NFL, go to college, and then come back to the NFL. And I think he can actually really make a good imprint and a good impression and have some good results, specifically with any team. But I think this is a good
Yeah.
team for him. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. I don't know if he's the savior. Like people thinking they're gonna go to the Super Bowl because he's there and all that stuff. I don't know all that. I think the Chargers got a lot of deficiencies they got to fix and iron out. But I do believe he'll be great for the young quarterback. I
Yeah,
do believe he'll be great for the organization because now they got a sound face for the organization. He's just coming off a national championship. He's in the high demand as a coach. He's a great X's and O's. He's proved he can win in the NFL. So it's a no-brainer to me for the hire. I just think he's got a motive to be the perfect fit for them to be successful. And I don't know
yeah,
if that equates just automatically. It doesn't happen automatically. It takes a little bit of time, changing the personnel, getting the right people in. And then we also know all the stuff comes with a lot of luck, no injuries and all those types of things, going forth to be successful in the season. So I think it's a great hire. I do. I think it's a great hire. I think the Chargers have to do something. They had to
yeah.
do something. And they had to land a big name because they're not fulfilling their obligation at SoFi Stadium. They're not filling the
That's
seats.
a lot of money for that
It's a
stadium
lot of
down there in
money.
your neck of the woods,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
and
not
that's a
have any
lot of
wins.
to not have fulfilled seats and not making it to the playoffs and not doing what you're supposed to do to bring that that brand up to the level of the Rams. I
Hmm.
think he was a right hire to kind of bring them on there, start the pot a little bit, kind of like that Clippers versus Lakers thing. Now we can have hopefully the Chargers versus the Rams thing to kind of who's battling for what fans and who's naturally the king of LA as far as football is concerned. I think he'll be able to at least challenge the Rams and kind of get that team ready and right. But again, it ain't gonna be overnight. I think people think it's gonna be overnight just because he's hired. It's gonna take a little bit of
No,
time.
no, yeah, yeah. I like it because of this, right? I like it because of the story, and
Yeah,
that's typically what I like. The fact that Harbaugh, right, quarterback at Michigan, head coach at Michigan, win-win.
yep,
Quarterback for the Chargers back in the day. Now he's head coach for the Chargers. So again,
yep,
the story aspect of that right there is what got me. So that's why I think this is a good situation. I don't think 2024, 2025 that they necessarily going to be contenders for anything because you got to get into the system. Just like
yeah,
in Michigan, it's going to take a little bit of time, but the right
yeah.
path, the right path. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And he's got a little bit of time, but you got to understand he's got to hit the ball, the gun running. He's got to get prepared for the draft coming up right now. Evaluate who he's going to take and what he wants to do. Evaluate the deficiencies that are going on in the Chargers. He feels that needs to be fixed or needs to be addressed. All those things, and then just being a head coach, and then moving your family, getting acclimated to the city again. Again, this is in San Diego. This is now LA. He has to get
Hmm.
immaculated too and do those things. So there's a lot, there's a lot going on as far as not only with football but also personal life. But him going there, and once I think he gets established and gets settled, I think he'll be a great fit and a great situation for the organization. Like I said, it's a no-brainer hire in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah. What I also think is pretty funny is we don't know the specifics of the deal, but it's real
Yeah,
interesting how money becomes less of an object when you're dealing with big boy money like this, right? So
yeah,
Harbaugh still owes Michigan a buyout for breaking his contract, but
yeah.
that number is $1.5 million. I mean, now
Nothing.
to you and me, that come on now. I mean, to you and me,
That's my
we gonna have
and to
problems,
me, I'm living off that for the rest of my life.
right?
You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
To you and me, that's problems, but
Yeah, yeah.
to NFL money, to the Harbaugh family, to all that, that's probably underneath the couch or something,
Dropping the
right?
bucket.
That's an insignificant amount of money, which is I just find that
That's write
hard to
off money.
fathom,
That's write off money.
right?
That's write off money that he's giving away. Yeah, that's write off money that he's paying back that buyout. That buyout probably is going to be essentially rolled off as a donation to the school.
Yeah,
It was about his contract. He'll write that off on his new bonus he gets and all that other good stuff. So it's all a cycle, man. It's all
yeah.
a cycle that they've been able to have and been able to put together. But I mean, him going to the Chargers is a great fit. Him leaving Michigan, now Michigan's going to be able to give a chance, and I think they're going to give a chance to the defensive coordinator that
Hope
took over
so.
while he was suspended.
So I was going to go into that. So
Yeah,
before we go into
yeah,
that, I want to talk some more about this money. So in comparison, that 1.5 million that Harbaugh was going to have to pay Caleb DeBoer when he left Washington, $12 million when he left Washington and went to Alabama. Now again, these are numbers with a lot of commas and a lot of zeros. you and me, they could be fighting words, right? If you
Yeah,
told me I owe $12 million for anything, we gonna have some things to talk about. I
I'm
think,
mad. I'm mad when I owe $12.
my goodness, right? Listen, we don't ask me for $100, right? But again,
Yeah,
Caleb DeBoer going from Washington, where he was making some nice money, and now he now has the reins in Alabama. I think it's going to be okay. But again, it's just an interesting contrast to see these types of dollars and these types of figures being talked about. We talk about coaches making different moves and going from one organization to the other, and it sounds like they make those things happen overnight or whatever the case. But there's some ramifications behind the scenes. Caleb DeBoer had to come up with 12 million. Coach Harbaugh had to come up with 1
yeah,
million.
yeah. But that's that. Like again, we talked about the money coaching and being in the national championship. You know, DeBoer took his team to the national championship. How
Mm-hmm.
much money is going to generate for the school? 12 million is a drop in the bucket. Like
Yeah,
that's nothing. That's really nothing. When the school's making 100 million, 12 million is that's peanuts. You're still grossing what $88 million. You know what I mean? So I'll take a 10% hit if I'm getting, I'll lose $10 on somebody gonna give me 100, right? Oh yeah, I'll take the 90. That's
that's
better
a
than nothing.
word
I'm gonna
right
take
there,
the
boy.
90.
That's a word,
So
right?
so so I believe like when we look at these big dollars, it's all relative, right? In the grand scheme of things, they're making so much money in these institutions, in these schools, and these teams, and these programs that when you see a coach leave somewhere and he has a $12 million buyout, that means they feel that his skills are going to bring them that much more money. And with
Yeah.
Alabama, what they're counting on Alabama with Nick Saban leaving, they're like, hey, just get us to the playoffs. If you can get us to the playoffs and the way you coach, because you coached Washington basically when there was nobody, Penix was a nobody. They thought he
True.
was washed up, and he took him from that person to now being probably a possible first round or second round draft pick and led him all the way to the championship. If he can do that in Washington, they feel he can do that in Alabama, who has a bigger draw, especially in the southern region and on the East Coast of players. He can do if he can put that same coaching ability there and apply it and get that team there and coach that way. He's going to be a great successor to Saban. You know what I mean? And that's what they feel. That's why they invest so much money in him. So they're saying, hey, we feel you're going to be able to get us to the playoffs for at least the next 2 or 3 years. That's going to bring in us a couple, maybe close to somewhere to 250 to 300 million. Shit, 12 million ain't nothing.
Ain't
That's
nothing, boy.
dropping the bucket.
Another
We
write-off.
cool.
Man, I like
Yeah,
to make
that's
some
just a
write-offs
write-off.
like that, man.
Right,
God,
write that as a donation to the school as your buyout. On your bonus check, we're giving you 30 million. That way, your money going, you get to keep that 30, and you straight because you just wrote off 12 million. You had to give back to the university. So it's all, man. It's all a big. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it's all a big cycle of money. What they're doing, it's not. It's just the way they work it, which is
true.
cool.
That's true. So okay, so now let's get into the conversation about replacements, and I think you're right. The defensive minded coach who took over for Harbaugh when he was suspended all 6 games, which is still crazy to me. I mean, Harbaugh was
Yeah.
suspended for the first 3 and the last 3, and they still ended up walking out of there undefeated with the national championship trophy. That's a good system right there. That means it does trickle down, and you
Yes.
can. I don't want to use the analogy. You can cut off the head of the snake and stay alive, but again, that's a really good system if they can do like that. First 3 and the last 3 and still come out on top. Come on now.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes to show the system he set up, the grind he put together for those guys and that coaching staff, how great they are together, right? They can miss the head man for 6 games and still be successful in big games, right? The last 3 games are big games they played in, and he was still able to make it out of there and be successful and do their thing. I think that's an attribute to Harbaugh, the people that he hired, the people he had put in those positions to be successful, and the person who he's handing the reins over to, right? I mean, I think Michigan is still set up for a lot of success, and I think he'll still always endorse Michigan, and I think he'll be a person that drafts Michigan players because he knows exactly what the system that they're doing, what they want to run, which he hopes to translate over to the pro. So, I mean, he's just created a pipeline, man. That's all he's created he's created a pipeline with what Saban was doing. Like he's on the first level of that, creating that pipeline. What Saban created that pipeline with Muschamp and all those guys and that filter of all those players that come through and been able to go somewhere and do something great. I think Harbaugh has laid this foundation to create his pipeline of all the coaches he's touched and where they're coming from and how they got to funnel through the Michigan system and what he's done. So, man, kudos to that guy, man. I mean, he's created a path.
So let me ask this because this is interesting. How did Harbaugh succeed in this era of the portal, And we got this conversation that Reggie Bush is starting and going around talking about that maybe this whole transfer portal situation, this whole new mindset, NIL, is some of the reason why Coach Saban is gone.
Yep.
How does a Caleb DeBoer, how does a Jim Harbaugh, how do they succeed so well in these systems? I would say Dion at the beginning, but Dion
No,
just understands.
mean,
Dion just understands the game. So I don't.
I think the difference now between then and now, especially for Saban, is now there's no break. There's no break. You're working 12 months a year now as a coach in football because you're working not only on recruiting, because you got to get recruiting. Now you're working on NIL when you have a break to try to lure players to get there and keep them there. It's not only like lure, you got to sustain them and keep them there. You got to create an environment to get there. You have to go out on the road and identify players that are worth that and want to bring in money. And then you got to compete and try to outbid other people. They went from, in a matter of 3 years, from being a college system where things, hey, you offer scholarship, you come here, you do everything, to a system where we have to operate like the NFL. We have to have things in place not only to attract them, but to keep them here.
Man.
And the difference between the NFL and them, you don't get to leave your team until you're traded or when you're a free agent. In college, you're a free agent
every day.
You can go where you
every
want.
Day.
Every day. Let's look at Julian Sand, the number 5-star quarterback. He was signed to Alabama. Alabama got the new coach, and they said they're bringing in their guy. Saban hasn't even stepped on campus at Alabama. He's already in the transfer portal and transferred to Ohio State.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you're an instant free agent all of a sudden, and the dollars are attracting whoever they attract. So I think it's I think that's a big problem with Saban. I can't. Not just saying he couldn't compete. It's just tiring for him to compete now. Why? It's a 366 day a year job. I don't have no time with my family. I don't have a chance to break. I got to shake hands and kiss babies 365 days a year. I got to be on the phone 365 times a year. I got to go visit people 365 times a year. I think that wears and tears on somebody that's 70 years old.
Truth. Yeah. And he did mention that it's starting to become a grind, right? He still knows the X's and O's. He can still get out there and yell and scream with the best of them. But yeah, getting up every single day, all day, doing the thing. He loved it, but it was just taking a toll on the body. And then, 77 years old. Come on, he's got time. He needs to spend that with his family as well.
Yeah. It takes a toll on your body. And then also, again, I think he's already voiced his opinion about it. He doesn't like the way the portal is set up and the NIL is set up. He's stated it. How can Alabama be sustainable for years to come with the way it's currently set up? Because we're not in a big market, And in places like Georgia, where there's a bigger market because they're closer to Atlanta, so they can attract as many players as they want. Texas A&M, they got that oil money. Them and the University of Texas and Baylor all got that oil money, so it's not a problem for them to attract or get people. You're in LA, we have Hollywood. And right now, UNLV is about to be a big player in the power because they just got approval for the casinos to endorse them for NIL.
I did not know that. Is that right?
Yes. So now we're in UNLV is going to be a powerhouse. I'm telling you. In a few years, UNLV is going to be something special to be able to do because they're going to have the money to be able to attract the players they want to attract. We're running into that stage, and again,
circus.
Coach Marion. Shout out to Coach Marion over there, UNLV, the offensive coordinator, cool brother's doing his thing over there. I think this is a game changer. So with those being game changers, you got to think the game is completely changed. We have to go out and seek money, how to play these players, how to get these players on this team, how to be able to set these guys up for success money-wise that attracts them to come here for us to be successful on the field, so we can set ourselves up to be successful in the future. So if the NCAA, and we've had this discussion before, the NCAA doesn't do something right away to put some curve on this, man, college football, in my opinion, is going to be tainted just like the NFL. And what I mean by tainted, the style of play. The rules are going to change because they got to protect the high-profile players. You got to pay because with the high, if you're paying somebody $1 million in college, that $1 million quarterback, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to. So the rules of hitting them and doing those things are going to have to change. I thought college football was kind of the last pressing, purity of football, that in high school. Right. But I now think college is going to start to be tainted by the dollars. If someone's endorsing that player for, and he's giving them $4 million, you don't want your $4 million player to get a cheap shot on him or get hurt. So they're going to impose rules to make those kind of changes. So I think things are going to change drastically in college football.
So that affects the level of play. That affects the product that's put out there.
Yes.
And, we talk a lot about, the domino effect and how this can affect other things as well, right? So if you got a poor product out there, I as a consumer, I'm not going to pay my hard-earned dollars to come out there and see a poor product when I'm expecting high quality athletes to come out there and do the thing. So trickling down to folks maybe losing jobs, again, losing endorsements, just, again, all the other things that maybe folks don't think about that, but we bring it into a conversation.
We also got other issues. We got like two players that are approaching two players that got approved for 7 years. Their 7th year eligibility at the college level. Like, that's crazy. I think it was a player from, I know Jack Tuttle from Michigan he's appealed to get another 7th year. I think there was a kid, I can't remember, between Florida or somewhere. He just got approved for his 7th year eligibility. Again, man, it's crazy because you know why they approve it, because there's money involved. Jack Tuttle's supposed to be possibly the starting quarterback going into Michigan next year. So that's crazy. 7 years of eligibility, you only get 4.
Yeah, you only well, and Tony TD is saying it was 9 years, man. So again, that's just
9. I mean, if it's not, that's even crazier. I mean, come on, like how do you approve that? And the reason why you approve that, because there's so much money now involved for that player to be involved, because he's an intricate piece to their team, and he's going to help them win, and that draws more money. So, I mean, as they say, follow the money. You can follow the money now in college football, because that's where it's at.
You can stay in college football, get your NIL, and don't even have to worry about going to the NFL. To be honest with you, right? The less than spectacular, less than 1% folks, because the 1% are probably going to make it, or they're going to have a better chance and better opportunity. But here now you got the 2 to 10% folks who are just out there at least showing out, playing really well, get that little NIL, and be good after that, and then go into another career, especially if you're getting paid for 9 years.
I mean, Caleb Williams doesn't have to work. Caleb Williams is just played for USC, the quarterback. He doesn't have to go to the NFL. I think he made an estimated $11 million. Yeah, he made $11 million. If you can't retire off $11 million, I don't know who you are, especially when you come from nothing. Like, you can retire for the rest of your life at the age of 23 or 24, whatever age he's at, with $11 million, and sit for the rest of your life and never have to worry about anything going on for the rest of live very comfortable. I believe that some players are going to be able to make a lot of good money at the NIL level, at the collegiate level, but that comes with a price of the product that you're putting out. That comes with a price of the game. I mean, we already have now recruits charging schools for them to come visit.
Yeah,
and I've heard all the way up to $40,000. You got to pay me $40,000 if you want me to come visit your school. So
that's where we are.
A person that's coming out of high school, a 17-year-old, is telling schools, "Hey, you want me to come? You got to pay me $10,000 to come visit, come check out your campus."
Think about that, folks. Again, you got a junior, you got a senior from backwoods, wherever in this country, just whomever, and they telling Stanford, they telling UCLA, they telling institutes like they. Oh no, you want me to come out and work out for you? Send me the plane, have a car waiting for me, have some groceries in the car, right? And they got a writer. They got like a show writer. They got the requests and the demands just for me to have a chance or the opportunity to come out and work out for you. That's all crazy talk. So let me go back to the thing I said about Caleb Williams, because I don't want to. Folks may be asking why I said that, but him saying that he would not, or he would reconsider making himself eligible for the draft because he explicitly does not want to play for the Bears, and the Bears are going to have first pick. I mean, that right there. First, you came out and you tried to make whatever news by saying whatever team you get drafted to, you need stock and equity in it. You need ownership. When it's the year 2024 and nobody has pulled that off except for Michael Jordan and another sport. And you did not look so spectacular in your last few games, Mr. Williams. I have issues with that. Let me. I've been wanting to ask you about this right here, about this whole story, this Caleb Williams thing, again, saying, you know what, I'm going to undeclare for the draft if Chicago says that they want to pull me because I specifically don't want to play there. Well, Who are you, brother? Who are you?
He's $11 million college player. That's who he is. They could say, I'm a pullback. I don't need the money. And that's what it comes out. I don't need the money, so I don't need to go. I'll stay at USC and play. Stay at USC and play another year and wait for somebody else to resurge or somebody trades for my rights because I don't want to go. We're giving the power back to and it's a good thing that they have some control of where their destiny wants to be. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with Caleb Williams' kind of approach. Like I said, first he said, I want equity in the team.
Right.
I want this and this and that. And you haven't proven yourself in the NFL. And then number two, again, you're trying to dictate, I don't want to go there. I can press myself saying I don't want to go there, regardless of who drafts me, where it should be an honor to make it to that next level and to be the number one pick and to be the highest paid coming person out and all those things. But now these kids have so many options with having this much money in the bank account, right? I don't really need, and in all essence, he really doesn't need to go to the NFL if he doesn't want to. That's the true reality of it now.
That is true.
He doesn't need it anymore. So when you're not needing it, why not stay another year and earn a couple of million at USC and be the face of their brand? Why they go to the SEC or Big Ten, wherever they're going, and go play there and have a semi-successful year? Fine, I'll drop a little bit in the stock, but guess what? I won't go to Chicago, and I'll still be a millionaire at the end of the day.
It just loses some luster for me as an old school thinker. Right? I play for the game, pay for the love of the game. The money is nice, but now it's only. The money is the first part of the conversation. Your brand Absolutely. Is the first part of the conversation, as opposed to, listen, there's 33 teams. Just put me on one of the teams. Just put me in, coach. Right? Yeah, just put me on the roster, as opposed to just, again, being privileged to do that. No, let's make sure that, again, I have the jet waiting for me when I land, that my locker is here, and that I get the Skittles. I'm Marshawn. Make sure I get only the red Skittles. Come on, man.
It's crazy. I had a conversation with some colleagues, and I was talking. I was like, we need to start having this conversation about entitled versus earned.
Uh-oh.
That's a true statement, entitled versus earned, because I think the younger generation of this generation feels they're entitled to everything that they're supposed to receive. You think you're entitled to it. You think because you were talented that you're supposed to get this, or someone's supposed to do this for you. In my instance, the people I work, they think they're supposed to get a scholarship. Hey, I did good. I was the best player on the team. No, that has to be earned. It has to be very earned. And what was earned 4 years ago is not earned what's today, because now the portal is alive. Kid, they're not coming to get you anymore. You're an afterthought no matter how great you are in high school. Unless you're a 4 or 5 star, you're pretty much an afterthought. Everybody goes in the portal where these guys are already tested professionals, basically, at their level. They're tested already. They've already been through the rigor. So they're going to hire somebody with experience, just like in our workforce. You hire somebody with experience. And that entitlement thing gives them a bad taste in their mouth, and I think it leads to their horrific attitude. I think the generation of athletes today have such a bad attitude about, like you said, hey, damn, I'm honored to be chosen first. I'm honored to be able to go to this team, instead of like, man, I don't want to go there. I don't need to go there. Yeah. I don't care about that. I don't care. I don't care about the money. I don't need to worry about this. I don't care about what they're doing. I don't care about being first pick. I don't care. Really, I don't even care about in the NFL. I'm just kind of waiting on to see if I get to the right team and where my fit. Right. Because I feel I'm entitled to that. I honestly think about it, because he feels he's entitled to be able to do that. Well, before it's like, you get drafted in 1, I got to go. I know. The Manning brother did it. Eli, he was talking about he didn't want to be drafted by the San Diego Chargers.
That is true.
And
Eli did it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna go back into school or nothing like that. It's like, hey, y'all need to trade me because I'm gonna just hold out. I don't want to come play for you. And he ended up trading for the Giants, which is fine. But I believe, that's kind of was a start. But now it's like it's over the top now. These kids they just feel they're entitled to do what they want to do, and not earn it, in my opinion.
That's a good point. Yeah. I forgot about Eli, and again that was again a very similar situation, man. But we will see. I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. We'll see what he says and what he does. I want to bring this question out here from Tony though, man. He says, do you ever think they will make college football some of the conferences pro level and separate it from the college aspect? I almost think that it's already there. I just the paperwork hasn't been signed yet, but again, the look and the feel, and again, this whole NIL conversation, I almost think that there's more excitement on the college level, in my opinion, than there is actually at the pro level, because there's still they're still paying for. I'm gonna say respect. They're still playing for. They're still playing out of heart. I, I don't know the younger cats out there. They still have some of that fire in them, even though it's a lot of money conversation. I don't know. I really I prefer to watch college football now as opposed to professional NFL. I do. You made
I,
me
I,
you put this on me. You the
yeah,
one that
yeah.
got me switched. This is
I'm a
your
big
fault.
college football fan, and I even think the lower the level you go in college football, the more pure it is.
Mm,
So if you go down to Division III and watch a Division III game, it's actually they're very talented players. There's talented guys playing that are there. They just didn't get the opportunity to go to the Division I or whatnot, or they were mentioned some attributes, but that's more pure. And then you go to the next level, Division II and NIL, where there's more scholarship money, not NIL money, but scholarship money. That's pure. That's a pure
yeah.
competition and play. Division I AA, still pure, still not it's not bad. But when you get to the Division I level, it starts to become the money conversation.
It
It
starts
starts
to
to
be
be
big
different.
business. It starts
Yeah,
to be
yeah, it
big
starts to
business.
be
Yeah.
like who the portal has affected everybody from all levels down. But it's just completely different, man. And like I said, it's not like in the pros. Pros, you sign a contract, you have to obligate your contract. Free agent, then you can go where you want, or you have to be traded, right, for that. Well, there's no trade in college, so you have to be free agent. There have to be some stipulations for kids. They just can't be free agents right away. And to say you can go to 4 to 5 different schools if you don't
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. There's got to
That
be
doesn't.
some regulations, some rules. I'm
Yeah.
not a big. Well, I do like laws and that type of thing, but there's got to be some boundary. There's got to be
Well,
something
I
around
mean,
this.
but you got to think about this, and I always go through it in my head. So here's a kid you get as a freshman, right? Let's say he's a high profile prospect, and you paid him. Let's just keep it simple. We paid him $10,000, right?
Yeah.
To come here. NIL money, we got him $10,000 deal. Well, you're getting that $10,000 deal to make sure you endorse our brand and you play good for my brand. So if we give you that money and you said, oh, I don't like it, I don't want to post out. I think like anything else, if you didn't fulfill your obligation, because we thought you were going to do a 4-year investment with my $10,000 giving you, and now you leave, you should be able to have to give a portion of that back.
Truth.
I think that will curve a lot of the way things are going. The way this NIL and all this money's being bounced around. Like if you leave, you got to pay some of that back because on the reason why you're getting that is because you're playing for us, our school, and our brand, right? You're getting that money from Dion because you're going to be in a Buffalo uniform and you're playing for Dion. You're not just getting that money because you're just going to be playing. You might be able to get it somewhere else, but we're getting it. You signed here. This is where you're getting it. So if you leave after not fulfilling your 4 years or not fulfilling or graduating your degree or whatever case may be, you should be obligated to pay some of that back. That's like us. If a company gave us a bonus and we're supposed to stay for 4
That's
years
exactly what I was
and
thinking
we
about. A
leave,
sign-in bonus or something like
yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
we leave
Stock
after we leave
options.
before our 4 years, guess what? We forfeit our stock options, right? We don't
Yeah.
get those. We don't get them because we left before we fulfilled our tenure. It should
Yeah.
be the same thing as them. And I honestly believe they shouldn't pay him in cash. They should pay him in stuff like stock options and things like that to say, hey, this 10,000 you're getting over 4 years. All right, you leave. Okay, you keep 2,500, but
installment payments.
Yes.
Installments. I love because I've been caught up in that whole stock option thing when I was
Yeah.
part of Apple, or so I know about that, and having to stay with the company that my division got sold off to before I can get my shares. But now I like that thought right there about installment payments. You want this 10 grand? Okay.
Yeah.
You gonna get
And
$2,000 every
you're
year.
getting 12 million, if you're getting 11 million like Caleb Williams, okay, you got 11 million, cool. You stay here. But if you decide to not graduate or not fulfill what we feel is your obligation to our school, then you should
Yeah,
leave. If you're
I
so
like that.
talented, and you're gonna leave when you're junior to go to the NFL, fine. We'll pay you 75% of what we're supposed to pay you, and the rest stays in the till. You go ahead and bounce on out.
Man.
They shouldn't give them all that right away. It should be because I signed you to our brand to represent our brand for the next 4 to 5 years. That was a deal that we were signing you to.
It's
Now
another
the fact
element
that
of commitment. Yeah.
yeah. And now you just said you're gonna bounce because you don't like it or whatever. Well, then you don't bounce with all your money. You bounce with a portion of your money. And I think kids will then start to think either twice about it,
Yes.
or they won't be so willing to leave. And maybe it just throws a roadblock. Maybe it doesn't deter anything. But I think if you do something like that, at least that put some curve on the money, and lets the school have a little bit of not of a stranglehold, but a little bit of hold on the player. And also, it just again, it deters maybe that student athlete not to leave so fast, right?
Nothing wrong with that. And I honestly, I think more athletes Yeah, they probably couldn't buy that Phantom day one, but you know what? They committed to this program. They committed to play. They want to go. If they really want to play, they will fulfill that obligation. And if they go on to the next thing, then probably that next thing is
Yeah.
going to give them the cash to pay
And
back
then,
the other school.
but I do believe schools need to clearly define what the qualifications are.
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah,
is our obligation? Like, if you're a student athlete and you graduated in 2 years, well, okay, you fulfilled your obligation. You know, you fulfilled your education obligation, and obviously you don't want to be here no more. Cool, you can leave. So maybe there's a variance of pay that we pay you that because you did fulfill your obligation education wise and why we brought you here and all that good stuff, and you play football for us. But like guys that are just say, hey, I'm here 1 year and bounce, or I'm here 2 years and I want to bounce. I don't like it no more. You know, whatever the situation, I'm going to go to a bigger market and all that stuff.
yeah.
Well, hey man, you need to forfeit that little bit of that small market money. You need to get that back. You know, we
What's
can use that
crazy is the
money
fact
to,
that you touched on the most important part of the student athlete is the student
yes,
part,
student
right?
man. I
The
mean, you gotta.
education part.
I mean, we talked about this before.
Yes,
I truly believe you need to get your education. Like that's the
yes,
main focus. I don't care if you're earning $10 million or $1 million or $1. You're supposed to be there to get your education and go to school. I think now student athletes that are superb, and I think prime example was the LSU situation. I don't think the young lady was going to class or whatnot, or she was having some problems in school, so coach suspended her. Now you can't play. I think that needs to be back to the forefront, and that needs to be a part of their NIL. I don't think just, hey, you play football and you represent. No, you need to be an outstanding student. You need to be able to maintain a 2.5. You need to
yeah,
be able to be on track to graduate. That's how you get all this money. If you don't do all those things, you don't get all this money. We start incrementally denying some of that money that you're getting. So now Caleb Williams, I don't know what kind of student person he is or nothing like that, but now that 11 million gets sliced down to 4 million because maybe you're not going to class. You're not. There needs to be something in place to put these things kind of in steps for them to get their money. Incentivize it, right?
yeah,
If you do
yeah.
this, you get it. 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 And then it goes all the way on. And I know some people that their kids are in that situation may disagree with me, but I think that's the way I think of it. That way, it's more of an even playing field with everybody. And if you leave, the money that you left on the table can go to the next student athlete for them to bring somebody else in to be able to
Wow.
make them successful.
We over
So,
here writing the bylaws, y'all, for NIL, right? We've been talking about it since day zero when the transfer portal when the website first opened up. We've been talking about this and talking specifically about this part right here too, having some boundaries, some frameworks, just something in place to help the athlete, help the coaches, help the teams, help the universities, and make it equitable and make it. I don't know if you can ever make it fair, but again, have some ownership on all sides of it. And I mean,
yeah.
here we are. I know ESPN is listening because I'm a tune in later tonight, and I know they're gonna talk about the same thing. So ESPN, you got a bigger you got a bigger microphone than we do. Y'all take this to NCAA and talk about this stuff right here. Listen, y'all over on YouTube, you see I got the poll going. When we get to that story, we're gonna talk about that. I see folks are putting in their votes. I'm not gonna get into it yet, but I see the poll. Okay, I see you. Listen, we talking about a lot of coaches. Talking specifically about NFL coaches. A couple of jobs are still open. Right. So Pete Carroll gone, fired, quit, retired.
Promoted up to he's a front office.
I don't know. You see, I'm dancing around the Pete Carroll thing. Who knows what he did? But the story says right here, fired on January 10th. So that job is still open. Ron Rivera definitely fired.
Yes.
Ron Rivera with them Commanders, he didn't do nothing. But Arthur Smith over there in Atlanta, shouts out to the Falcons, gone, job opening. A lot of folks are interviewing for these positions. Carolina Panthers, they didn't do nothing, man. I almost forgot Carolina had a team. Golly, Frank Reich, 1 for 10 in his season. So poor man, poor fella. And I think that's it. So those are the coaching positions open. I find it really interesting that Belichick hasn't been swooped up yet. He's had all these interviews he's had a handful of interviews that we know about. I'm sure there's been some things happening behind the scenes as well. But I'm surprised that Belichick is still on the sidelines for any position as of yet. What are your thoughts on him landing anytime soon?
I think Belichick will be. I think he'll may land the job or he may not. I don't know if people want to go in that direction. You know, Belichick has a real stern reputation, right?
Yeah.
He's a hard nose. He's not going to work in Seattle because Pete Carroll is not that at all. He's more of a laid back. He's a player's coach. He's not like Belichick's more of a dictator. He wants things to be the right way. I personally feel Belichick would be a great fit for Carolina. He would. I think he would be a great change of pace for what they're doing. He would instill some structure in that organization. I think he'd bring Josh McDaniels to be his offensive coordinator. They'll change that. I think they'll change that program around to be something successful. But then again, like I said, you got to think: do you want a presence like Belichick in your building, right? Especially if you're a GM, because he's going to hold more weight than everybody in the building, and no one likes to have somebody bigger than the boss, have more impact than the boss does, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the GM and the owner. Belichick would have more. They would see more power in him. They would see more power in Belichick than the GM and the owner. And I think the one thing though with Belichick, I think he still wants full control where he can control the draft and everything like that. I don't think a lot of teams want to do that. I think they want the GM to be the GM and you coach the players. And if he decides to let that happen, I think someone's going to pick him up right away. If he doesn't, and he still wants to be the GM and kind of control everything, I don't know if he'll be employed. I don't know if a team is going to pick him up. I think he'll be going to the analyst booths and talking.
He'll be sitting behind the booth.
Yeah, he'll be in the booth, man, talking about it. You know, people just don't give it. Belichick's a genius in football.
Truth.
But he's also very strong personality, very commanding, in the situation. And I think a lot of people, it's hard for people to handle that. People can't handle people with strong personalities.
Yeah. So
and
you don't think that he would?
This is him in interviews.
Yeah. Nothing to say.
He don't care.
He don't know how to smile or nothing.
Yeah, he don't smile. He answers the questions, and he don't like to be questioned about his decisions. Mm-hmm. People could say he's faltered off at the end once Brady left, and was Brady a part of that magic formula? Yes, just like Andy Reid and Mahomes got a magic formula. If Mahomes leaves, Andy Reid ain't gonna be successful. So that's a mute conversation. That it's not that he's not a great coach. He just happened to have the right fits when Brady were there. I think he can duplicate teams getting back to the playoffs and even get back to the nature of winning, but it has to be the best brand. And to me, I think Carolina would be an awesome fit for him, a great fit for him. And I think he can bring Josh.
Do you think that he's beyond the point of taking a different role, like a coordinator role?
No, I don't think. I think he's beyond that. I don't think he takes a coordinator role. I think he wants to be in charge, and rightfully so. He's earned that right. I think he's earned that right.
I agree.
Be in that situation.
Well, we got OC available. For my Steelers, I would listen. He's tough nose. My Steelers is tough nose city. We use him. Tomlin put him.
Him and Tomlin, man. Tomlin the same. Boy, they can't be in the room together like that. I don't think Now, no,
Tomlin, A5A brother. He'll put it. He'll stomp on him or something. No, I ain't gonna say that.
I just think. I mean, Belichick, man. He's. I admire him, man. I wish I would have ever had the opportunity to play for him because I think he's hard nosed. He knows what he wants, and he's successful at what he does. I don't think people say they think the game's past him. I don't think the game's past him. I think his team had some success. Defense was pretty good every year. It's just that he had struggles on offense of putting up points. Yeah. I think if you go to a team like Carolina that has a quarterback they can start to build around and build the pieces around, I think he brings Josh McDaniels as a great OC. Josh McDaniels sucks as a head coach, but he's a bad OC. He's a great OC. I think if those two, get back together and do their thing and can get a young quarterback and get some pieces around it, I think you can see. I bet you can see some momentum and build. But I mean, we can't knock the new young up and coming coaches as well, man. They're doing a phenomenal job. Hey, I think some of the young OCs.
Shouts out to them Texans. Shouts out to them Houston Texans. Yeah, right. They're out there doing their thing.
They show they can do their thing. These young coaches show they can do their thing.
Mike McDaniel out there in Miami too. Yeah,
So you got. I mean, do you want an old head like Belichick to come in and be a dictator? Or do you want a young guy with some swag that can kind of relate to the players a little bit and do their thing and dance and all that stuff? Belichick ain't dancing after no win. He ain't care less. He ain't gonna be in there celebrating like that. He gonna be. So like I said, it just depends on what kind of personality you want your team to take. To take. I think for him it's gonna be hard. I know he interviewed for Atlanta, and Atlanta declined. They didn't want him, and I don't think he's a good fit for Atlanta. He's not that kind of guy that seems to be in that world. I think he needs to be in a place where Again, like I think Carolina's a perfect fit, a little bit smaller market. They'll have a high demand. They want some demand. They want some wins, but I think they'll be a little bit more patient,
Yeah,
and letting him get everything together the way he wants to get it, and then I think the success will come.
that's
Nashville
true.
wouldn't be a bad spot for him either. I don't think Nashville would be a pretty good spot for him too, if he can land something. If he can land that.
Yeah, but I don't think they have a position. Hey, so Billy Thorpe, I see you in the building, man. You over there in North Carolina. How would you feel if Bill Belichick came over there and did some things with your team? Did some things with the Panthers, man. Would you be all right with that? A lot of coach movements. That's most of the stories we're gonna talk about this week. Let's talk a little bit. Switch sports a little bit. OG in the building. Doc Rivers. Listen, Doc Rivers been up and down the aisle. Many teams had some success, had some failures. Unfortunately, thought he was going to do a little bit better, but he didn't. Now he's over in Milwaukee. Now Doc Rivers is over in Milwaukee, and it's a weird catch-22 because some are saying, "Cool, we know we got a seasoned man out there who can make some things happen," but then you got some other folks saying, "Man, does this really make sense? Is this a mistake of bringing Doc Rivers into, again, a championship-minded team? Won the championship not too long ago, but now we got someone who the game hasn't passed him. He still knows how to draw up plays. He still relates to the players. But again, are there some younger cats that we can bring in as opposed to a more seasoned coach like Doc Rivers? What are your thoughts on this?
You know what? I like it. I don't like the timing of it. Like mid-season's kind of hard. Like you got to change the whole philosophy, right, of the team. What they've been doing, and put them in a different direction. And then is everybody going to buy into Doc's philosophy, right? You usually have a whole year to kind of, all right, we're going to, we got to get into it. That's the only part of it. I think he's the right fit, though. I really do. I think he's the guy. He'll put them in a better position to do defense. He'll make Dame Lillard play defense. More defense, spot on ball defense. I think Giannis is going to be Giannis. One of the best players in the NBA, and I think he'll draw some more out of some of these other guys that hasn't been there, and he'll be able to be ready for playoff bound. The thing is, I said, mid-season is going to be rough, and part of the free agents coming up, does he make a change? Is there somebody in the roster he doesn't like that he wants to make a change? I think the interesting part of this whole thing for him being on is Giannis signed off on it. If Giannis signed off on it, you got to do it.
Yes.
He's your franchise. He's arguably one of the best. He's definitely top 50 ever to play in the league.
Oh yeah. Already.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. If Giannis signs off, says we need to bring something else on. I think that's a great move for them to go. I believe that one of the problems, again, defense, and they need some depth. They definitely need some depth at point guard. They need somebody to back up Lillard. When he gets tired, and somebody can come in and control. And everybody gonna look at me crazy, but I'm telling you the best fit. But they can't take it on because his price tag is right. If he was healthy, CP3 would be a great fit for them coming off the bench.
Wow. Well, okay, we're not gonna look at you crazy, but okay. I thought you were going to say
he would be that change of pace guy that can control that second unit with them and Portis. With Middleton now coming, I think Middleton's coming off the bench now too as well because he's just injured. But just give you that change of pace guy that's not going to turn the ball over. They can give Lillard a lot of brief minutes and actually move Lillard to the 2 when they need to with somebody that can come and control. So I think they need a strong backup point guard that can fulfill that role. That's willing to take that role. And then otherwise, I think they got all the pieces. They can compete with Philly and Boston. They've shown they can do it every year in, year out. So I think Doc will get in their mindset. Like I said, the time is kind of weird, man. Right before All-Star break. All-Star break's in 3 weeks. So you bring on a new coach, so you're only going to get about 3 or 4 games with him. And then you take a break for a week, and you come back, and then, the end of the season now, you got to get really ready because you're trying to get ready for playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing as well, man. Just a weird timing, weird situation from that perspective. I'm glad you said CP3, and I'm glad you didn't say Draymond Green.
Leave my man alone, man. Draymond, all right.
Listen, you see some stories going on right now. Draymond done messed up all of his Olympic hopeful chances by continuing to get suspended. So coach is saying you can't come to Paris with us. So I'm glad you didn't mention.
Draymond,
Marvin saying Coach Montel, put you out there with the X's and O's. Put you out there with the clipboard.
I'm not X's and O's, man. The sports I like, I'm pretty emphatic about. I like them a lot. I just know what I see. This good. I hope that I hope CP3 gets healthy. But I mean, I think watching Milwaukee like several times on TV, they just need a backup point guard,
They
man. I
do.
mean,
No, they do. Yeah, they
yeah,
need somebody. They need a little bit more depth. You're right, because
yeah,
Dame can't be Dame time all the time, right?
yeah,
And not that his time has passed. He can still be that electric player, and we've seen in the last couple of weeks or so.
yeah,
Giannis, right? So
yeah.
that big dude can still make some things happen and highlight reels on everyone, put everybody on the poster. More coaching stuff. Let's go into this next story, and this is a good story as well. Don's there are two there's a handful of coaches, but what Dawn Staley is doing, and again, we started talking about her a lot in the last couple of years as well. But my goodness, Dawn Staley is really controlling her and Kim Mulvey out at LSU. But Dawn Staley is really changing the direction of how women's basketball at the collegiate level is being perceived. Right. Everything that she's doing in South Carolina works. Everything that they don't necessarily have to win every single game, but everything, the mood, the attitude, the sense of urgency, respect for the game, respect for the hustle, all those attributes, right? Dawn Staley is really doing those kinds of things with her squad, and that's reverberating out. And you heard even kind of some of the head nods to her from Coach Mulvey over in LSU as they were getting ready to play against each other. But what are your thoughts when I mentioned to you Dawn Staley and her impact to the game?
Go Mount Rushmore of women's basketball. I mean, seriously, she's Calhoun at Connecticut is always going to be the guy because he won those 100 and almost 200 games in a row without losing. That guy is always going to be on Mount Rushmore. I think early Tennessee coach, I forgot she passed away, Pat Summerall, I
Pat
believe.
Summerall, yes, yeah.
She's on that. Dawn Staley is the next one to be etched in on that Mount Rushmore of female basketball because what she's doing, she's like you said, she's changed the game the right way by winning, recruiting girls, really dynamic girls, taking a program that wasn't even never in the conversation because they've been the perennial number one for the last 6 or 7 years since she's been there, and they're undefeated this year. So I believe she's changed the game. She's a GOAT, period. And you like it or not, she is what it is, and she's continued to be successful there. And she plays everybody. They don't duck South Carolina ducks no one in women's basketball. They play everybody. So she's not like she's winning these games on some lower level. She's winning at the highest level you could possibly win it in women's basketball, and doing it well. And she always has. I like her because her personality. She lets her personality come out. She has a state.
Yes, Coach Staley she's gonna be fitted too, right? She's you gonna know when she walks onto the court. One thing about what you just said though, one thing and that's the reason why I stopped on the screen right here, right? The fact that she plays everyone. Think about her Olympic experience and this story right here that caught me when I was reading this the other day, right? She was actually cut from the team, 1992. And he said, Dawn, you don't have a lot of experience out here in the international game, and you're too short, right? But then come back the following time, 96, 2000, 2004, and all they do is win then. All they do is win the gold medal. So I think, again, being in those shoes as a player and as someone who, similar to a Jordan, right, who was cut from the team or for whatever reason, she knows that experience and she reverberates that to all the folks that come through her locker room as well. So that's specifically why I stopped on this particular piece of the story. But man, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean, look what she's done with Pow Pow. Pow Pow was a transfer from Oregon, transferred over to South Carolina. Now she's a star. She's shining in her system, and she made her a better player. She's just whatever she touches, she's at the Midas touch, man. Whatever Dawn Staley touches is turning to gold, man, and a lot of success. So I think she like I said, I think she's one of the GOATs. We're talking about a Mount Rushmore. Her face should be instilled on that female basketball coach's Mount Rushmore. And I think the LSU coach is going to be there, but You know, she just has a good squad. When that squad leaves, we'll see how good they are.
Yeah.
Don Staley has been through several
Mhm.
squads, and they still successful, right?
Yeah.
She's still rolling, being undefeated, being ranked in the top 5, and doing her thing, and going to be competing for another NCAA championship. So Don Staley, man, I think she's the top. She sets the bar. She's setting the bar really, really high to be successful female coach in women's basketball.
Here again, back to college sports, college athletics. So I told you I like college football more than NFL, than pros. Again, you did this to me. You turned me on to women's NCAA, and I can't get enough of, Caitlin Clark's of the world and the South Carolinas of the world and things like that. I much rather watch them than what some of these dudes are doing because, again, purity of the game, little more. It feels like a little more energy out there. It's just where it's at. From my opinion, folks, if y'all haven't tuned in to watch these women play, you need
everybody out there watch Juju, that freshman from USC. She is phenomenal. Anybody, guys, girls basketball, guys, if you just don't like girls basketball, I promise you, if you watch that young lady play, she will change your mind on how to play the game of basketball. She is the truth. She's a true freshman. I think she's already scored like 40 points in the game. Man, she's something. She's very special. Just watch. I know you guys on the East Coast late night. I know they show it late night on ESPN2. Man, check her out one day and watch her play. I think she'll change your mind in the way the game is played and where the game is going. Because she's, like I said, she's a 17-year-old, 18-year-old freshman, and she does things better than the boys do. The way she handles the ball and the way she can score. I'm telling you, I'm endorsing. I mean, she's so bad. She's so bad, dude. Chris Brown was at her game to see her specifically.
Okay.
All
right.
A world-renowned artist stopped everything he had to do to go watch her play in the game and do that. So I'm telling you guys, check her out, man. She's something very special to watch.
Damn, son.
I ain't mad at that, boy. Okay, if Breezy gonna take some time out to go out and do that.
Yeah.
Shirley's in there talking about, the women's college basketball, they can definitely ball. So yeah,
they can ball.
Good to see you as well in here. Listen, we went through the stories, man. We talked about something. We're gonna continue with this last one. I'm letting folks answer the poll again right quick. Y'all folks on Twitter, I see you over there. I'm sorry you don't see the poll, but if you come over to YouTube, you can see it. And we have the technology now that if I see you on Twitter, you can leave comments. Don't be bashful. Mm-hmm. I know y'all just like it when Coach Montel is talking and telling his truth, but don't be afraid. We have the technology now to where you can actually engage and interact on Twitter as well. So that's all good. Tall Boy said I got 2 cousins that play for Morehead State. I'm trying to tap in. Okay. I love it.
Shout out to Morehead State. Yeah,
man.
Absolutely.
I love it. You won the last week's.
Yeah.
See, why you just you answered pretty quick too. You won the gentleman's bet, which I don't think is a gentleman's bet because you already put some contingencies on it. Montel and I had a little wager on the divisional round NFL.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know why, but I thought Tampa Bay was going to do something better. Close. If Baker had just hold it just half a more second or thrown it half a second faster, he wouldn't have had that interception. And that was a good game too.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the other ones were going to happen the way that they did. I didn't think that Detroit was going to do what they did. I did not think. I knew they had the whole Eminem, but okay, it's all good. It's all good. And like I told you, I can't not. I don't like Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes is so darn good. I think that's my problem with Patrick Mahomes. At all of 26 or 28 years old, whatever he is the game is just too fluid for him. And I credit him being a multi-sport athlete for that. I credit his baseball skills for that. I know baseball is your second sport, but I credit that to him being able to throw that little curveball. Long story short. Okay. And let me go on this diatribe for a minute. Marvin's in there talking about go Ravens. Listen, the Ravens are doing what they need to do. If Lamar, hold on, let me hold off on that because I got another thought about the whole MVP thing. I thought the Eagles were going to do something. I really did. I thought the Eagles were going to show up and do more than they did, but they were just so broken. Oh, I feel sorry for Mr. Stark. I feel sorry for you and them diehard Eagles. In the MVP race, though, yeah, a lot of folks are saying Lamar Jackson. I sure do think Christian McCaffrey should get that trophy. I think Christian McCaffrey out there running that ball like a man on a mission. Christian McCaffrey can run through a building. I really think it would be nice to see a running back who puts the entire team on his back and scores at will. And that's what Christian McCaffrey does. I really think that he deserves more of a look at the MVP race than he's probably going to get. It's going to go to Lamar. It just is, right? Because he's everything that he's done thus far. What are your thoughts on that? And then we'll talk about kind of what's coming up with the conference championships.
I truly wish it was a co-MVP because they both deserve it this year. I think they're 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B, whichever you want to put. Lamar is great. And Lamar does. The only reason why I would give the edge to Lamar because he does more for his team than Christian McCaffrey because he has to throw and run the ball for his team. Where McCaffrey just runs the ball, and he's excellent doing what he's doing. But I think that it's based on the regular season, so it doesn't count what they do in playoffs. Yeah, so based on the regular season, it's going to go to Lamar. And I think he rightfully deserves it. But that shouldn't take anything away with Christian McCaffrey because he deserves it as well, as far as that race is concerned. Those are the two front runners, man. Everybody else is they looking in the rear view. Right.
That's true. That's true. I put a poll out on Twitter the other day, and I said, who did I say? I said Brock Purdy. I said Christian McCaffrey or Lamar Jackson, and more votes came for Lamar. But I don't know why I put Brock in, just because he's still playing. And
that's another thing. Brock Purdy takes away some votes away from Christian McCaffrey. Whether you want to believe it or not, it just is. Anybody that votes for Brock Purdy, if he wasn't on the ballot, they'd be voting for Christian McCaffrey. So that's it's kind of just that way that the thing works. I just think that Lamar does so much more for his team, and he's so much more impact for his team. And you could just look at it this way: if Lamar wasn't on Ravens, would they be where they're at now?
Nope.
No. If Christian McCaffrey wasn't on the 49ers, they still got a pretty good chance of being successful because they put Debo in the backfield and they do their thing, and they got a little bit more depth. They'll still be successful. I'd say if Lamar's not on the Ravens, they're disastrous. They're not even close.
No, we don't. I don't even know who their backup quarterback. I don't know who QB2 is. To be honest with you, Baltimore. So
you know what I'm saying. So there's where the comparison. I think who means so much more to the team. So I think since Lamar means so much more to his team and does so much more dynamic, and he's throwing at a great efficiency rate this year, I think the brother deserves definitely MVP.
Okay, we'll see. We'll keep that out there as well. Like I said, we had a gentleman's bet, and I guess I'm buying dinner when we go to Vegas for the Super Bowl. And listen, don't keep the numbers in line. Now I know you may eat well, and you may want steak or whatever you may steak and lobster.
Man,
but
we're going to Grits, man. We're going to the restaurant called Grits. We're going to have soul food
Grits. Okay, I'll see if we can get a little hook up there at Grits, some media credentials. I stopped a poll out there on Twitter on YouTube, and I was asking, what's your Super Bowl matchup? And looks like the winner is Kansas City versus Detroit.
What?
Kansas City versus Detroit won from the audience here. So they actually think Kelsey, Mahomes, going to put Lamar Jackson and ODB, oh my gosh. Yeah, that just Odell Beckham, ODB.
Talking about Wu-Tang, baby.
You know what I'm saying? I'm over here, cash rules everything around me. Okay, so folks actually think that they did a nice job playing in them elements in Buffalo. They did a nice job with that, but it's just different. I don't know. I got Baltimore and San Francisco. I got Baltimore and San Francisco.
Josh Allen is not my man in Baltimore. He's not him.
Yeah.
He's not him. He can't compete with him. He's a different beast. And I believe going to Baltimore, that crowd is a lot louder than people think they are. And I think Mahomes will have some success, but Mahomes isn't going to have that. I think that last minute success. They're going to have to put them away early and I don't know if that's even possible. If Lamar Jackson can continue to do what he's doing, it's going to be a match going back and forth. But I think they can get it because I think Baltimore can control the ball time of the clock. They can control that with his running ability and extend a lot more first downs. So I'm taking Baltimore. I think Baltimore's on the.
You got Baltimore. Okay.
All right.
Well,
on the other
see,
side of the thing,
yeah, who you got on the other side?
I like Detroit. The moment's too big, baby. It's too big.
Too big.
Them going to San Francisco,
especially here, right?
Money.
Especially coming over to Santa Clara. Listen, I've been at Levi Stadium, and as a whole, I know, I'm sure over in Detroit in that dome, and when Eminem get to, when they get to playing that is a whole different vibe. But these 49er fans,
that Bang Bang Niner gang is going to be something a little bit different.
They don't play, and when they at home too as well. So Top Boy, no, I'm not riding the wave because again, I'm not a Kansas City dude. I'm not a Mahomes guy because Mahomes is just too damn good.
I've said it from the beginning. I think it's going to be the Niners and the Ravens. Yeah. I'm glad Detroit made it because they deserve a winner for the longest.
Yeah.
They deserve a winning team in a franchise that's on getting it done.
I'm more happy for Detroit's coach than I am for the quarterback. I know there was a lot of issues when quarterback came over, when Goff came over, right, and the whole Matthew Stafford thing. But I think coach coming over there and only been there for a few years has really changed that whole mentality. And Motor City, Detroit, just hardworking folks, just blue collar, and for them to get a win, that's I like the story piece from that perspective. So that's my thought on that.
I think they got something special they're gonna be able to build off of in Detroit. I think Goff. I'm so happy for Goff because I'm not a Stafford fan. I didn't really like Stafford, and even when he came to the Rams, I thought he was the missing piece, and he won the Super Bowl for him. I thought Goff was still very, very good, and they just wrote him off. They wrote him off, and he went to Detroit, and now he's having some success. So I'm very happy for him. I like the Detroit team. I really do. I think Detroit has a really phenomenal team, and they're playing at a high level. I just think they're going into the wrong environment, in the wrong setting, in the wrong city to play this game.
Time.
I mean, you're going to go against the best running back in the league. You're going with arguably one of the top running receivers with Ayuk. Brock Purdy is probably the number 2 or number 3 quarterback in the league. And then if Deebo Samuels is at 50%, he's probably one of the best athletes on the field. Not to mention their tight end. I forgot his name. It's from mine right now, but the tight end is great. And that 49er defense comes bring it because you got Fred Warner, the number 1 linebacker in the nation in all of football.
Anytime you got Warner and you got Bosa coming at you, I would just stop. I would just quit. I would if I was boxing against Tyson or something.
Was the best left tackle. You got Trent Williams, who's the best left tackle in the league, that's blocking for Purdy. So you got all these things going on in Detroit. I get it. You're playing great. They've been able to play very amazing going on, but I don't know how they're going to play behind, and can they make that comeback if they get in a hole. I know the 49ers can play either ahead or be in a hole and come back because they've shown us they can do it against the elite teams. I just think 49ers got too much for them, and it's going to be overwhelming. I think it'll be a good game in the beginning. I think eventually the 49ers will start to put a little bit on them to get to the Super Bowl. I got 49ers and the Ravens, man.
Okay, no Super Bowl picks. Don't give your Super Bowl picks, but just that's so in these conference championships, and since you got the 49ers and the Ravens, and that's my pick as well, but I will be different. I will say Kansas City, even though I'm not a Mahomes dude. I'll go with the Swifties. I'll go with the Swifties and say Kansas City and San Francisco. It's still going to be San Francisco though. So we'll see.
We better drink on this one. On this one.
Nah, man, you expensive. Hey, man, you making me expensive.
If you take me to dinner, I gotta buy the drink. I gotta buy you the drink. So
like Todd Boy said, I'm gonna hit up Keith Lee over in Vegas. The viral TikToker, social media guy who lives in Vegas, who is out there, food critic, telling people where to go eat and where not to eat. The last time I hit him up, we were in CES for Vegas. He was actually here in the Bay Area, so. That's why I didn't get in contact with him there, but we'll see. So we're going to Grits. Yeah. I got connection at. We will actually be at Circa as well, Circa Resorts and Casino. So that's where we will spend some time as well. Shouts out to their operations manager, who I have some done some business with. That's where we're
Okay.
gonna be hanging out. So it's
Well, we
already
inserted
dialed
then.
in. It's
Yeah, we
dialed in,
inserted.
folks.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, Chris might got to get put off then. We got something going on. It's all good. It's all good. I ain't mad at it. Shoot.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at where we go.
Yeah, I did read some of the Super Bowl press issues and some of the things about bringing gear. I can't bring my camcorder in.
How we
So,
gonna record it?
so that's a problem. That's a problem. So that's all right. We'll work it out. We'll go.
We got to do it on phones.
We'll go very mobile. We'll go. I can't bring a camera in that's got a lens longer than 6 inches. So obviously I'm not going to bring that. But I can't. Camcorders are explicitly restricted. So we'll figure it
Okay.
out. Okay.
We got it.
This is all administrative. Y'all don't care about that. I know, but this is something Montel and I will deal with.
Yeah.
Good show here tonight, brother. Good participation. Good engagement from the audience. Go ahead and send us home, man.
Yeah, man. Like I always say, man, be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, and check in on family, say your prayers, and we good to go, man. We'll see y'all next week.
Man, that's it, brother. We out.